Alright guys, today's video it's a video that I don't want to be turning into something controversial, to be honest with you. When I say calling out ranked players in collection hyper fighting, I don't really mean calling them out like specifically and insulting them in any way. This is more about maybe trying to understand what is it that makes people do these kind of things. Because it would be easy for me to just, start bashing these players and saying things like, these guys are scrubs, these guys are rage quitters. Instead, perhaps we should look into what it is that makes people do such things and show the reasons why it makes no sense for you to cheat on a competitive ranked system online. Okay, so as you can see here, this is the ranked system on collection as it was yesterday, because I made this video today. Yesterday I recorded that I am on the 11th spot on the ranks, and I've made my way there by playing against anyone that shows up that doesn't have a terribly laggy connection. But when they do have a laggy connection, I'll still play them, for that one fight. The fight ends, and then you decline the next fight because the lag is so bad. But let me be perfectly honest with you. The lag in collection hasn't been all that bad for me. I mean, sometimes it's bad, but 90% of the time it has been playable. Sure, there's some lag, there are some stutters, there's some input delay, but it is what it is. So you just play, you adapt to what it is. We all know that online and offline are not the same thing. This is not a debate about that. This is about the reasons why people would rage quit in a competitive environment online. So, without having to say names, because the video itself shows you what's happening. This scenario right here with this Blanca with this player who happens to be one of the top ranked in the list. I don't even need to say who it is. Everyone knows who it is. Everyone that plays this game knows that this guy's a cheat, that he's always rage quitting. And it's actually two guys that are at the top of this list that are doing that all the time. It's not the top ranked at the moment. I'll say that because I've never faced him. Perhaps he is in a different continent. That's the reason why I never get matched to play against him. But there are a couple of players on the top 10 list. And I'll say this right now. Ultra Sean is not one of them, because that guy is a legitimate claw player. He actually knows what he's doing. He understands his character. He knows the matchups. And he's actually in a spot where I think he deserves to be. Given the other players that I've seen in this ranked that are playing consistently, this guy is actually a good player. Aside from that, I haven't really played everyone in that ranked. Some of them, like I said, are probably located somewhere else, and that's the reason why I do not get matched with them. But getting back to the subject, the problem that happens here is that players that do this, that rage quit, they're probably thinking that having their name at the top of the list is something that is going to benefit them, to give them credibility, to give them more views, to give them more of an audience. I would say that that's the only reason why that would be something that makes sense. If someone wants to cheat because they want to be popular, then there's a motive for it. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's justified. But when there's a motive, people tend to cheat. It's not the first time it happens. There are many people in competitive environments that have been cheaters, not just in video games, in real life, in sports and in politics. Anywhere you want to see it, there are cheaters that take advantage of certain things to actually get what they want. So this is not a new thing. But we need to separate, there are two things we need to think about here. First, there's this element. I remember seeing this guy who was complaining about one of the top players on this collection. Happens to be that Blanca player that everyone knows rage quits every time he loses, you know. And this system, the Capcom Fighting Collection, does not punish players who rage quit. So Capcom really, I really don't know what to think about Capcom developers at this point, because they certainly know how to handle rage quitting. They do it with Street Fighter V in a way that is pretty effective, I would say. So why would you release a new collection without any punishment for rage quitters? That is just, there's no excuse for it. So getting back to the point, when someone rage quits in a game like this, and someone calls them out and says, man, why are you rage quitting? It's only a game. See, that's the root of the problem right there. We have to stop thinking this way, because it's not only a game anymore. The moment when someone starts gaining popularity, let's say because they're a good player, they're top ranked in a popular game. Maybe that's not the case with Collection. It's not a very popular game, but let's just forget about the popularity of a specific game. When people are good at playing video games nowadays, it's not just something that is for fun. They're actually gaining views, and if they gain enough views, they turn into influencers, and they can start earning money with ad revenue. They can start making money with sponsors, and they can actually start making a living out of playing video games. So when people say it's only a game, when it comes to high-ranked players, that is not true. You know, the moment that money is brought to the table, that makes it something way more than just a game. It's actually a way of life, right? So that whole "it's just a game, why are you cheating" thing does not apply in the modern world, when there are so many game streamers that are actually making a living out of this. And the better you are at a video game, the more likely it is that you will get more viewers if you're a streamer, and if you publish videos on YouTube or Twitch. So that does not apply anymore. And it's important to consider that, because video games, as they used to be in the past, then it made sense to say, hey, it's just a video game, why are you doing this, blah blah blah. But you know, let's say someone were to cheat their way to the top 10 in Street Fighter V ranks. And let me clear this out too. I know that top players are always saying rank does not represent the real game, blah blah blah. It doesn't matter if it doesn't represent the real game. Ranked is a game in itself. Online ranked is a game in itself, right? Sure, offline is going to be completely different because there's no lag, there are no input delays, there are no frame skips, etc., etc. But that doesn't make it any less important. As a matter of fact, a lot of the best players out there are making money out of streaming and not out of the actual tournaments that they go to. Because not every top player wins top 8 or top 3, so not everyone gets a paycheck, right? But if they stream, they can still make money off of sponsors, they can still make money off of ad revenue, etc. So as a community member of the FGC, you should never see it as it's only a video game, why are you cheating? Because the game has changed and there's money involved now, there's exposure. And you know, that brings me to part of the topic with some of the cheaters that seem to be completely doing this for no good reason at all, just to get a kick out of it, right? Because they're not streamers, they're not popular players. Obviously, who's gonna be streaming themselves rage quitting? It makes no sense. You know, people would not only unsubscribe immediately, but they would also call this person out, and they would make sure that this person gets no audience, because that's how it works, obviously. So, you know, anyone who's a rage quitter that is at the top of a rank is obviously not doing it for subscribers or for an audience or to make money off of it. So Why do they do it? Because they feel somehow that this feeds their ego. Because they feel somehow that this makes them feel better as a person. Hey, I'm at the top rank of a game. Even though they know it's a lie, which makes it completely pathetic, obviously. It makes no sense. I mean, it's not even something that rewards you. And the only reason you could be doing that is also invalid. Because the only reason you do that, if you know it's a lie, if you know you're a fraud, if you know you're not a good player, if you know you're rage quitting and that's the only reason why you have all those points, then it's not even gonna work out because of that. Because if you're doing it for others to say, hey, that's one of the top players in this game, so-and-so guy, whatever name, you know, that's one of the top players. That's so cool, he's a top player. If you're doing it for that reason, that's also invalid. You know why? Because everyone that plays ranked in this game is calling you out for being a fraud, for being a rage quitter, and for having all those points just because you're rage quitting every time someone beats you. I have faced both of the players at the top of the list that are rage quitters, and I've seen countless posts on Facebook, just like this one that I'm showing right now, that say, you know, this player is a joke, basically. This player is a rage quitter. This player, such a shame that players at the top of the rank are doing this, you know, whatever the comment is. So if your purpose for doing this is to get other people to see that you're a top player, then even that is ruined by the fact that everyone in the community that is playing the game is seeing that you're a rage quitter. So no one's looking at your rank and saying, oh, this is a top ranked player on collection. No, they're saying, oh, look at this joker attempting to look like a good player. He's actually doing something that is making him look way worse. So it's not for his own gratification, because he knows he's not really a good player. He knows all the points he has come out of rage quitting and taking advantage of a system that has no security for it. So in that case, you're really not getting anything out of it, right? Perhaps saying this is not going to make those people change their ways, definitely, but it could give some people with the idea of rage quitting some insight on why they shouldn't do it, because communities will catch up to you. Because a lot of players like myself who have YouTube channels are constantly recording their matches to see if they can find something interesting to post, you know, to show a great match that they had, etc. So rage quitters are always on the record. Someone's recording them for sure. Just be sure of that. If you're a rage quitter, you're recorded by someone, guaranteed. And if you're doing it because you want to become a top ranked player and this is going to give you a lot of views and a lot of subscribers on your YouTube or your Twitch, then you're also doing it wrong, because you're going to get called out for being a rage quitter and no one's going to want to subscribe to you. And if you're doing it for yourself, for your gratification of seeing yourself at the top of the rank, you know it's a lie, so you're not really feeling good about it. Lastly, if you are doing it because you want the ranked players to say, hey, this is a great player, same thing applies. The entire community knows you're not really a good player. They know you're cheating. They're actually calling you out for that. So there's no win in this situation for you as a rage quitter. So maybe the idea with this video wasn't so much about exposing the cheaters as it was about exposing the reasons why they would do this and showing them, or showing anyone who wants to be a rage quitter for any reason, that there's nothing to gain from it, you know, not even for yourself, because you know it's not true. It just makes no sense that you would actually lie to yourself like that and think, yeah, I earned that spot, you know, I'm a top player at that game because I actually earned it, because I'm good. So maybe someone who has ever talked to a rage quitter and asked them why they do it, they could post in the comments, why does a rage quitter do this? Is there another reason that is not any of the reasons that out of logic I've come up with because logically, that's what I could consider a human being would think when they are rage quitting. You know, the reasons that I have already explained here. But if there's another reason, I would love to hear it. Alright guys, so thank you for watching. As usual, subscribe if you like the content, and I will see you in the next one.